On September 22, 2014, Eagle Mountain Middle opened its doors for the very first time and welcomed students, staff, parents, and the community to Coquitlam School District's newest middle school. Under the watchful eye of our Thunderbird mascot, we knew that we had exciting plans to unfold. Plans to integrate and innovate and to engage and challenge all of our learners. This is the story of our first year's journey. It's a story of incrementally setting the conditions where innovation can flourish. It's a story of trusting students and teachers to figure out 21st century learning together. It's a story of the power of professional learning communities and the energy created when teachers have the opportunity to collaborate. It's a story of how we all found our way here together and made a collective decision to put learners at the center. We hope you enjoy our story.
For years I found myself as a math and science teacher and worked with a teaching partner who taught language arts and social studies, and the two subject areas were taught in complete isolation of each other, and we never knew what each other was doing. When we began talking about integrated studies, we thought about the idea of teaching in themes and how that provides a wonderful umbrella for our students to learn under, and to realize that math and social development and scientific discovery don't happen in isolation, that one has a natural effect on the other, and that when something is discovered through science, it advances society, and when society has a need, it advances scientific development.
And I'm here to talk about our inquiry process that we're going through, and yeah, I've really enjoyed inquiry a lot more than I guess other ways of learning, because we get to choose our own way and our own what we want to learn about. So like in our class this year we learned about game changers, and there were like so many topics. Like some people did people, events, and inventions, right? So that's what I love probably most about inquiry, opposed to reading through a textbook, answering questions, and just repeating that cycle. I liked how we had a choice on how to present our topics, even though it's not about, I think, the final product, but about the journey and like taking notes and learning for ourselves and not proving that. Our final project, we could choose, our teachers pushed us to not just do PowerPoints or posters, or maybe not all just do the same thing. So there were models, there were speeches, there were posters, and I think that was really cool, that it's not all just the same thing. Everyone can do something different.
My topic was chosen because, in my opinion, after learning all about game changers, I thought that out of all the types of game changers, that medical pushed civilization to advance the most. Normally, when we work on inquiry projects, we work alone because your topic should represent what interests you, not what represents another person, because it is interest-driven. And we mainly work on our inquiry projects at school because it's all about the process, so you can learn from like other people's knowledge or the internet or first people sources, and you might have to take it home at the end, but it's not really about the end product. Sometimes in these projects you usually get stuck about halfway and you don't really know what to do, but that's usually the time where my inquiry gets like the most interesting, because you kind of have to like respace your topic and like look at it in a different person's perspective to change it, and then it usually ends up a lot better after that. This project was similar to other projects because you still learn a lot of information, you just learn what interests you as opposed to like out of a textbook information. It also allows you, like, you can kind of understand the relationships between different topics and how they connect and stuff, and learning in this way also allows you to develop skills that wouldn't be as strong as if you were just learning normally, like critical thinking skills and questioning skills and self-direction.
The art group are doing about puberty, and our question was, what does every adolescent need to know about puberty?
We are working as a group and collaborating and trying to find the answers to the question.
At Eagle Mountain Middle, we are working on changing our teaching philosophy in order to improve the way we communicate student learning. The adolescent brain is ripe for a learning style that has them analyze material rather than regurgitate information back to us. The 30-month journey that middle school could be is a way that allows the students to reflect upon their strengths, their needs, and their areas for growth, and hopefully engage them more in their education. Using portfolios, we can communicate their learning with the parents as well, and the students can see their growth over time. If we meet with the parents and the students in conferences routinely, a few times a year, everybody can be a part of the discussion of that growth over their middle school career.
When I first learned that Eagle Mountain would have focus on the First Nations principles of learning, I thought a natural connection would be to the Northwest Coast style art. At first I was trepidatious because I know so little of the culture. I didn't grow up here. But as soon as I moved here, I noticed right away the distinctive art. And I really wanted to get to know it better, to understand it. And in learning about it myself, I was able to share it with the kids. My job has always been to teach the elements and principles of design. And this style of artwork falls right in line with everything that I've ever tried to teach, my whole approach to teaching. I was able to share with students how this artwork is created and hopefully spark an interest in them and an understanding when they walk around the community, and as they grow and become adults, they can understand the artwork, they can explain how it was created, and develop an appreciation for it.
I wanted to do a project-based learning assignment with my students about ancient Greece and wanted to integrate science into the PBL. I was able to do that with coming up with some kind of big idea and using scientific method and how that related to ancient Greece. However, I really needed some help in terms of how to do that, and I needed some collaboration and support time to make that happen. So I asked my colleague to help me out there, and we kind of started with a big idea and went from there.
As Jody's support teacher, I took her big idea and using a creative process and shared ideas back and forth a lot. We developed a challenge question for the students, and the challenge became the framework for our integrated social studies, science, language arts unit, and we were able to differentiate content delivery by using an audio-visual presentation, we used some videos, hands-on learning by doing experiments throughout the unit, and we also used some text-based information and diagrams to help us deliver content that was accessible to all of our students.
My name is Marna McMillan, and I'm a District Learning Support Coordinator, and I have had the pleasure of working with this staff with a critical friend, Dr. Leighton Schnellert from UBC Okanagan. We met a number of times in teams around inquiry-based practice, and what I was most struck by is not only the collaborative nature of the staff, but their willingness to dig in and really get at the details of what it means to build a responsive classroom, and their willingness to work with someone and reflect and then respond with action, moving back into the classroom, trying new things, and then coming back and asking more questions about their practice. And there's nothing more powerful than that in a school, where not only are you doing it for yourself, but you're doing it together. So working with the educators here has been a thrill. The other piece I was lucky enough to do is come in a number of times to document some student learning in some of the inquiry projects that went on in the school. So I got an opportunity to talk to kids, and I was struck by not only their enthusiasm and passion, because I always asked, did you enjoy the project, and they always talked to me about that, so many did, but also just their learning, their understanding of concepts. So this idea that inquiry or letting kids go off in their own way doesn't have rigor or structure is entirely untrue. When you see it done well, with structure and thought and detail, we had great conversations with kids that understood deeply scientific concepts, understood deeply the influence and impact of different cultures on our society today. Those kinds of things coming out in inquiry is incredibly powerful. And finally, I want to talk about, not just from a district level, which is my role here, but also as a parent. I have lucky enough to have a son that goes to this school, and here's where the real rubber hits the road. When you have conversations with your kids at home and you start finding out about what works for them in school. And this school opened, my son was in the previous school, so both schools had come together in partnership to do this seamless transition. And that's what came across, was not only that there was a seamless transition and he was happy to be in one school and then excited to be in the new school, but that he always felt safe, he always felt cared for, he always felt excited when he came home, and we would have amazing conversations. So this idea that adolescents say, I don't know what's happening, well, my son knew what was happening, and he was constantly sharing with me, and that to me is a testament of the kind of work that's going on in this school.
Something that we really believe in around here is taking the students into nature and exploring our natural environment around the school. So a couple of the things that the students are doing today is, one is they're doing the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup, and they're making the forest the way it should be, removing anything that's not natural in the forest, and valuing what they see around them. And then for science, some of the things that we like to do is record and observe and share that information. So many students have technology with them that it makes it pretty easy for them to be ready to go at a moment's notice and enjoy the weather and get outside. And then you can probably hear a group of kids off in the background, and they're doing their PE, they're doing Capture the Flag in the Forest right now. So we just feel that the more students spend time in the nature, the more they value the environment around them, and we're just so fortunate to have a campus that includes forested areas, streams, there's ponds out here, so there's all kinds of evidence of animals, and then all the different plants that you see in this area.
At Eagle Mountain Middle School, our staff is as diverse as our students, and we come from many different teaching backgrounds, years of experience, and passions. And collectively, we've been having these conversations about critically thinking of our professional practice and making sure that the choices we are making is what's best for kids.
For me, this is a very exciting time of the year as we celebrate our growth towards becoming an innovative school, and how we are all looking forward to growing and providing new opportunities for our keen and energetic learners. What truly surprises me as we are wrapping up our first year is to see such high levels of engagement of our students just a few days before school ends. As I walk through the halls and even out to the courtyard, all of our hard work in the fall preparing our students to embrace questioning, inquiry, and working collaboratively with each other is ever so evident. Through our dedicated work in the fall, with mini courses and pre-inquiry workshops, our students here at Eagle Mountain are at the forefront of being a 21st century learner. I'm so inspired to move forward and continue our journey to be a place where, without question, our students are at the center.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Slater. I'm the Vice Principal at Eagle Mountain Middle. We've been on an exciting adventure this year, and as we've been on our journey towards integrating and innovating. And along the way, we've had to pause and reflect on why we're doing this and how we know that it's having a positive impact on our students. And for our teachers, in my role, I've noticed that there's been a lot of risk-taking that's been going on as teachers have stepped back and allowed students to face those challenges, problem solve, have choice in their learning, and find ways to question what they're doing. And that's been a really exciting part as well. And when we've talked to our parents in our community about what we're doing, there's equally been some challenges about how we move into new forms of assessment, how we report out on what students are doing and involve our own students in communicating their learning. And that's going to be some ongoing work that we're going to do at the school. And so we are inspired as we move forward and embrace innovative ways of learning. And it's an exciting time as we move into 21st century learning with our students.